Okay. All right, based upon the feedback from the last board meeting with regards to the selection of the grading practices for the midterm and the regents, as well as the other recommendation made by the board, which is to allow all students to retake the regents exam and have it recalculated into their final average grade. Those are included in the following slides. Some of these items were those that we were discussed earlier in the school year and had practices that we wanted to implement and put in place. So we're displaying the highest regents score on the transcript. We're allowing the students the option of retaking the regents exam in August. We're recalculating the students' final average grade using the higher regents grade no matter when it takes place.
So this is open to all kids, so whether the kid got an 80, he wants to go for a 90, he can do it and it'll be calculated.
All students.
Because that was not on the last
Right,
presentation.
so based upon the two recommendations the board made last board meeting, we've included those into this slide. The marking period grades, we are going to remove the midterm from the second marking period grade. And the way the grading will work is a 1/9 percentage. The marking period grades will count as 22.2% of the final average. The midterm grade will count on its own as a 2.8%, and the final and regents exam will count as 4.8%, totaling 11.2% of the final average. All those recommendations, the two recommendations the board made, which were allowing all students the option of retaking the exam, as well as changing the calculation of the midterm and the final, is based upon what you recommended at the last meeting. To give an example of the impact to students, based on our current practice, and you see the asterisk next to the second marking period, and then the asterisk next to the midterm, because the midterm is counted in towards the second marking period currently, the student's final grade would be an 87. Under the proposed practice that we're suggesting this evening, where we remove the midterm, reduce the percentage of weight to the midterm, and reduce the percentage of weight to the regents and the final exam. Again, that percentage being 2.8% for the midterm and 8.4% for the regents. The student's final grade comes out to an 88. The second scenario, again, is a student who performs at a different level. Again, the current practice with the asterisk, because of the midterm being calculated into the second marking period, the student's final grade is a 70. With the proposed practice, again, with the change in the percentage weight of the midterm and the final, and or regents, the student's final grade would be a 72. The other recommendation that we're looking to do is to, again, re-meet with the committee next year, and I think to re-look at this practice for the years going forward to make sure that we are, in essence, supporting our students.
So what is the hesitation on going with a no harm? I mean, I know we're beating this to death, the no commitments. I mean, what is this, why are people scared to do the no harm? Because you're only using that method if the regents doesn't align with their normal GPA. So I don't know what the resistance here.
The recommendation of the committee was that they did not want to make the regents exam have no impact to the student's grade. It is a cumulative exam for the course.
Yeah, but isn't it partly the parent's responsibility too? You know, to make sure that their child does well on it, because it does count if it's in line with your GPA. It doesn't count if it's a severe difference in scoring. So I don't know any parent that's not going to say to your child, regardless whether it's counted that way or not, it's still going to be recorded on your transcript. And colleges will look at your regent scores. Right. So have this philosophy that kids are not going to try as hard. It's still on your transcript. They're still going to look. Colleges are still going to look at that.
And they still have to take the regents no matter what.
Put aside the do no harm words for a second. Take a look at the data. Essentially, isn't this do no harm? The child had 77 average and failed both the midterm and the Regents with 55 and 58 still wound up with 72 as an overall grade. They're gonna pass the class. I mean, how much more can we do? There's gotta be a little bit of accountability, and all you're asking is you're putting 8%, which is such a minimal number when you take the rationale of what it is. I mean, this kid failed both the midterm and the Regents, and they're gonna wind up with a 72 average. That's essentially no harm.
So
I mean,
we,
it's as close to no harm as you can get with
we
having
went from
some
a
accountability.
20% weighting to an 8.2% weighting.
Yeah, you dropped it more than half, almost 2/3. You almost cut it by 2/3. I mean, it's a step. I understand the people that say no harm. I understand the teachers and some other groups that want to have some accountability. My personal opinion, this is a good step in the right direction of reducing it and seeing how it goes. I know I wrote it in an email to all of you guys, and I hope that when we adopt all of this, we put something in place that 2 years from now we revisit it, or the board, or the current board is, revisits it and says, is this working for our kids? Is this something that has been beneficial to our kids, or is it not? And then makes the appropriate recommendation at that point to either go less or possibly, listen, the tests may change and be more aligned, and maybe you wind up going back or something a little more advanced. You don't know where it's going to be in 2 years. APPR is going to change by then because it's going to start to, be accountable again. The moratorium is over in 2019, so there's a lot of factors that are going to change. I think it's a step in the right direction going with this recommendation. That's just my opinion.
We may have to look at it again if the state changes their scaling scores and goes to 1 through 5 like they've already mentioned.
Anything else, Mr. Middleman?
That's it.
I think we should.
Can we? How do we do this? You said we were going
According
let
to
people know.
Andrea, we're not allowed to vote on it tonight.
We have a policy that states so. You can't just have
So-
Suspend the policy?
Let's get it done.
If it's a practice.
Practice?
It's an educational practice, so really this is a consensus. This is really to put a regulation in place to a policy, because this is not a board policy. This is a regulatory piece to grading students. So it's not actually a policy, it's actually a regulation. And generally, regulations are for edification of the board, but this has far-reaching ramifications, and that's why it's been put in front of the board a number of times. So, at this point, I think it would probably put some things to rest if we could take a consensus on the regulation. Am I wrong now? Please speak up if I'm wrong.
Is it, if you can point me to the specific regulation, it depends on, different districts have different policies about policies. So there may be a process for changing a regulation, or sometimes it's just it's up to the superintendent, or sometimes it's up to the board. So we just have to look at the policy about policies to double check that. But if you're saying it's in a regulation, that will be correct.
This is regulation. This is a regulation to a grading policy. So it's actually part of the student handbook for the high school, which is a regulation, from the grading policy. And in Connecticut, we have always had the regulations be the purview of administration. This is in front of the board because of the ramifications that it has for students. So generally, the regulation is designed by administration, who's going to put the educational practice on the ground to support those policies.
Once we determine that, or they determine whether we can, or how we can proceed, do we have a, maybe it should, do we have one in place already, but can we come up with a plan to publicize this to, obviously the high school, but I think it should be publicized to everybody, middle school, high school, and anybody in the district, whether it's a formal letter or whatever it is, so that everybody is aware of the policy change moving forward, or whatever the regulation change, I should say.
I would definitely have to put together a letter, Mr. Middleman and myself, because this is now going to impact the middle school as well. So even though the committee was at the high school, I believe we actually had some middle school teachers who teach Regents exam level courses on it. So we would definitely
We had one.
let the district,
There was
let
one.
the district know.
One teacher.
One teacher. There's only 4 teachers who teach Regents level courses at the middle school,
I
so
have-
25%.
All right.
So, yeah, can I call for, for consensus to see see if I have consensus to move forward with the creation of this regulation as it stands, with all the changes. It's new. It's the student handbook. That's up to me. All right, so can I have consensus of the board whether or not we should move forward with the transcript
Yes?
review committee's recommendation as of now?
I say yes.
Milynn?
No,
Yes.